Hello and welcome to the podcast Eat Better Food Today. I'm your host Ken Cunningham, and I'm excited to be sharing insights on why we believe that health and longevity begins with the food we eat. The goal of this podcast will be to inspire, educate, and enable folks to live a healthier life and do it affordably. My wife and I have been on this journey for over 10 years and continue to work on it every single day. Percent of the profits from this podcast will be put towards child hunger with an initial focus on the poor suburb in America, East Cleveland, Ohio. As a reminder, be sure to visit my website, Eat Better Food Today, for links to the show, videos, recipes, books, and articles that our guests provide. On this episode, we're grateful to have Drew Anderson. After a career in banking, Drew co-founded Cleveland Kraut, now called Cleveland Kitchen, in 2014 with his brother Mac and brother-in-law Luke Visnic. After a few short years in 2017, you made the Forbes 30 Under 30 list, very impressive. And in 2022, you won the Ernst Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
You now sell your products in over, this may be data information, but what I found, over 14,000 stores.
Yeah.
Across the U.S., Mexico, and the Caribbean. A very impressive start, I shall say. So welcome, Drew.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Ken. Excited to be here.
So I always start out with a couple of kind of icebreaker questions. So it's kind of a roundabout way to kind of talk about health, I guess, because even though there's a lot of debate on the benefits, I still believe breakfast can be a positive start to any day. So my first question is always about what you had for breakfast this morning.
I'm not going to be a good answer there. I typically don't eat breakfast.
Typically don't eat breakfast. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'6" and like 240 pounds, and I tend to just kind of get right into the day. Have a cup of coffee. I do put heavy cream in the coffee, so there is some. I guess that would be good protein there. I really like it because of the flavor. I'm not a black coffee guy. But I just get right into the day, and then I'll typically have, during the week at least, one big meal at dinner time. Yeah.
Okay.
So it kind of weighs me down. But if I find myself hungry in the mornings, I really do need something. It's going to be just protein. It'll be like a hard-boiled egg or bacon or sausage, something like that.
Protein's good.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. I would have to say, so maybe I'll do something with this a little bit later on. We get a few more episodes under our belt, but it kind of seems like the women I interview all seem to have a very healthy breakfast, and all the men I interview, it seems to be coffee. So it's kind of an interesting little start there. I personally have a shake in the morning, but so home pantry is another kind of like area that I consider something that affects our health. Because if you have a bag of Doritos in the pantry, you're going to eat the bag of Doritos. If there's not a bag of Doritos, you're not going to eat the bag of Doritos. So just curious what we might find in your home pantry at home.
It's funny because the way we grew up, and you had my mother, Danita,
Yes.
on the podcast a handful of episodes ago, and we kind of, just growing up with, her background being a chef and a biologist and starting the farmers markets, bit of a funny story. Kids didn't want to come over to our house after school because all we had was ingredients, but they'd come for dinner because the dinner would be phenomenal. So my wife and I, similar setup. We've got a lot of ingredients, a lot of fresh fruits, potatoes in the pantry, apples, things like that. But then a lot of different flours and things to cook with.
Okay.
So
That's good.
limited. Although now that we have a 2-year-old daughter, there's definitely more snacks there that I try to avoid. But we try to be healthy with our snacking.
There's a lot of good healthy snacks out there.
There are really good stuff made with whole foods and no additives. So it's good.
Nice. Yeah, I got a grandson. I've talked about him before, but when he comes over, he goes for the raspberries in the refrigerator first.
There you go.
So,
berries are great.
yeah, berries are great.
We do a lot of berries, a lot of jerky, really good jerkies. A lot of local jerkies around here have been fantastic and done properly. So protein and fruit, yeah.
I'll have to ask you about that after the show. So your start kind of seems similar to me to Great Lakes started in Cleveland in 1988. A couple of bankers kind of started a brewery, and kind of the rest is history as far as Cleveland goes. So before we get into kind of some of the details around Cleveland Kitchen, what made you decide to move from banking to food? I mean, you and I were kind of talking before. I was in IT. I kind of moved in this space. You've kind of done something even more with it.
Big data to sauerkraut. It's a logical step. Everybody's doing it. I think the story really starts almost 30 years ago, again, with my mother, starting the farmers markets when we were youngsters. She would drag us out to farms, and which we, didn't really like. She talked about it on the podcast too. Once we were out there, it was a great time, picking berries and whatnot. So she started the farmers markets, brought the farms to the city, and our first jobs were schlepping potatoes, helping people set up tents and managing markets when we were a little bit older. We just kind of grew up in that farm to table, slow food, movement. And I think when I was working for SunTrust in Richmond, Virginia after school, and big data, I have a degree in statistics. So big data modeling, looking at different portfolios for acquisition, risk things, etc. I was missing just some Midwestern fare, just a kielbasa with some sauerkraut on it. You get it at a baseball game. And so I started as a hobby fermenting sauerkraut for the flavor. I just missed that. And I was hand cranking sausages and trying to make pierogies. I'm not, that's a time consuming endeavor. Yeah, just buy those. But it just became a hobby. And then in 2013, KeyBank brought me back to Cleveland, and my older sister, was engaged to Luke Visnic, one of our co-founders, and kind of over a beer one night, another fermented product, right? He pulled out a mason jar of sauerkraut that he had made. It was this odd coincidence that we were both doing this hobby. The other guys are making beer, we're making sauerkraut. And out of a jar, we're just eating it with a fork, and it's crunchy, it's delicious, it's vibrant. Like, this is the good stuff. We're just not seeing that on shelves in grocery stores, and this is the way people have been doing fermentation of cabbage for thousands of years. And so it was just kind of a hobby, and we started doing some research. And again, this type of product wasn't on grocery store shelves. You couldn't find it easily. You had to make it yourself. To the probiotic fermented foods gut health trend was really taking off in the United States. And if you look globally, Asia, for example, I mean, fermented vegetables are served with every single meal, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Europe, Central America, etc. And so it was something that we knew was going to kind of hockey stick, right, take off in the United States. And so we thought, hey, there's an opportunity here. And then there was quite a few sources of capital becoming available, like venture and private equity were investing in healthy startup brands. And then we had this avenue to test products with the farmers market. So it was like, hey, it's lining up here. So we came up with like 20 plus varieties of different fermented, using cabbage as a base, and taught my younger brother, kind of came up with a business plan, taught my younger brother who was finishing up in college, his economics degree, and we called him up and said, hey, we're going to do something a little funky. We're making sauerkraut, taught him how to make sauerkraut over the phone, and, his roommates are wondering what the heck that smell was, but they loved it come barbecue season, and throwing on burgers and brats and whatnot. And in 2014, we found a little commercial kitchen space. I think it was called the CCLK back then, Culinary Launch Kitchen. And 2014, 3 nights out of the week, we'd come from our day jobs. Luke being an architect, my brother was in the finance group at Jones Day. I was at KeyBank. We'd show up in suits at a little commercial kitchen about 7 p.m. Change, make sauerkraut till 2-3 in the morning, and then on the weekends we were just hitting every single farmer's market that we possibly could. And so that was the basis. The retail product didn't launch till kind of the latter half of 2015. So we had about a year and a half of just working on recipes, working on our pitch, working on our street pitch, literally. But also seeing what was interesting to us is, we knew we were going to get kind of that meat and potatoes crowd. and what would the healthy eating crowd look like? And it was interesting, the usage occasion and the velocity that people were coming back every single week to get their different varietal sauerkraut, whether it was, our spicy kraut with eggs in the morning, or the different varietals on rice bowls, salads, sandwiches, at lunch, and then at dinner time, maybe more traditionally paired with a protein. And we just saw them coming back every single week, and we'd hone the recipes, and we created the retail product and launched locally in Heinen's the second half of 2015.
Very nice, very nice. Still trying to get my wife to develop. I love sauerkraut. I love your stuff, but and my daughter does too. But she just has never, for whatever reason, developed a taste for. I eat alone when I have sauerkraut.
That's a sad story.
So I mean, she eats with me. She just doesn't. But I'd like to get her on the, because there are a lot of positive health benefits to it. So.
Oh yeah.
So you've managed to grow the bit. I mean, you guys. You had an idea in 14, started selling in 15. You've grown the business, I mean, tremendously. I mean, that's kind of why you've won a couple of these awards. I mean, you've got 138 employees now. You bought another company last year that you're either moved or have moved from California to Cleveland. Just a couple more stats here: 10 million pounds of cabbage, 20 million pounds of cucumbers to make your sauerkraut, kimchi, and pickles, and you're selling in a Walmart, Whole Foods, Targets. I mean, you've done an amazing job. So how did you get from 2015 in Heinen's to all of that distribution? I mean,
it was all planned out. It went exactly as planned too. We knew we were onto something, and it really helped when myself, I had a financial background and was thinking of things strategically, looking at the vision and strategy and where we could go. You had my brother Mac, who he's 6'9", extremely amicable. He's a rainmaker. I mean, he would take my sports equipment when we were young and just sell it on the internet. And he'd like, where did my lacrosse stick go? And he sold it on eBay. And so he just had this sales. He's just kind of a natural rainmaker, and so he took the commercial side of the business. And then Luke, being an architect, is very linear thinking, problem solving, how do we go from A to B in the most efficient way? And so he looked at the operations side of the business. So we got very lucky that we had 3 people in the business, and we could all focus on different parts of the business and really drill down and be a specialist and to help grow. So, started with sauerkraut. Our very first investor was Dr. Julian Kim. I think he was the head of the Seidman Center at UH, and he was coming to the farmers markets. So he's a Korean American, is coming with his wife who has German heritage, and they were buying our spicy sauerkraut because it was like a mix of like German and Korean flavors. And so he always wanted us to do a kimchi. And then growing up, my grandmother being Asian, my mother were constantly eating Asian and really odd ferments, like from kind of Southeast Asia, and so a lot of kimchi in our diet growing up, and so that was like a logical step for us. And we saw the data. Kimchi is growing rapidly. Korean culture is in vogue, and the flavors are leading the charge, as well as the music and the dramas.
The dramas,
yeah.
Yes.
And so, we worked with our retailers who were requesting a kimchi from us. Consumers were requesting a kimchi, and we worked with the family at Korea House, who's family friends for years, right over here, a couple blocks away.
Yeah, it's 55th.
Yeah, to help us develop this classic kimchi SKU, which is phenomenal flavor, great crunch, and really, has that gochugaru pepper from Korea in it. And to develop that flavor and develop that product, and that launched in 2021. And this classic kimchi is the #1 kimchi in the United States right now, which is phenomenal.
Wow.
It's sold everywhere from Whole Foods to Walmart, and does fantastically there. And so that was a logical step, and allowed us to kind of expand beyond just sauerkraut. And we changed the name of our company to Cleveland Kitchen then. We could really focus on fermented and pickled and have kind of a bigger platform.
Mm-hmm.
And during that same time, Walmart, who's a great customer, approached us during the pandemic and said, hey, we're having trouble filling the shelves with refrigerated pickles, and so fresh pickles, and would you guys be interested in that? And it was always something that we had in our pipeline, and when Walmart wants to be your launch partner, you accelerate that. And so in everything they're doing, Walmart is really, really gearing towards healthier foods now. It's really amazing to go down to Bentonville and see what they're doing. So we developed the products and the pickle side, and a really good unpasteurized live pickle product, and we launched those towards the end of 2021, and now I think we're the number 4 brand in the category and the fastest growing in refrigerated pickles.
Wow.
So
congratulations.
Kind of a lot of opportunities came by that we didn't take for various reasons, making like a Kraut chip or like a fermented beverage or something. We wanted to stay kind of close to the sauerkraut world and what we knew and knew how to make and knew how to sell, and so that was kind of the progression of the products, and really producing the very best crunchy, delicious, vibrant, fermented and pickled products. When you stick to that, you'll start to win on shelf, and you'll start to win the customer and become a success.
Fantastic. I've been to Bentonville. It's been a very interesting place on the IT side, not on the product side.
It's a tech company now.
Yeah.
Walmart is a tech company now.
Absolutely. So where do you get your raw ingredients from to kind of make your product?
Yeah, we are really lucky that Ohio, during the season, Ohio has just got this fantastic glacial till, just really good soil, and so big ag growers, whether it's small farms or larger farms, but agriculture is part of the DNA of Ohio, and so during the season we're able to pull from Ohio or just the greater region the majority of our cabbage and our cucumbers, and then during the cold months we're kind of going down south to Florida, Georgia, where a lot of farms will have multiple footprints. So much like California, where they follow the valley during the season, they do that here as well. So they'll go from Florida all the way up to Michigan. So the majority of what we're pulling is from the Midwest in the season and down south off season.
Nice. All right, so I want to kind of switch it now to a little bit of health conversation here. So, because we're trying to build awareness about healthy food, healthy eating, which I know this category fits in very nicely. So there was an article in Forbes last week that they talked about, and I'm just going to read a quote here. So it talks about obesity and other diet-related diseases, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, type 2 diabetes. We've had a couple of diabetes folks on the show here, are leading causes of death in the U.S. This is our number 1 health challenge, and it talks about beyond the direct impact to our health and well-being, diet-related disorders are extremely costly. The chronic conditions cost our combined healthcare and food systems about $1 trillion a year. I mean, just $1 trillion. That's a lot of money. So I think we can agree this is an unsustainable spend for our healthcare system. Everybody's talking about Medicare costs, Medicaid costs, healthcare costs. It's not sustainable. So, and a large impact in what chronic diseases, their genesis come from is from the food we eat. So can you share with our listeners, given your success, and essentially I consider creating a new health category, because the reason you started the company is you couldn't find these products on shelves in stores, and how this can kind of help people lead a healthier life.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've got better experts than me to talk about this on your show, but I can give you at least why fermented foods, specifically fermented vegetables, a couple of different reasons. One, so for sauerkraut, for example, in kimchi, it has lactic acid bacteria, right? So probiotics. So when you're eating live probiotics, you're really developing the gut, making it resistant. You're boosting your immune system. You're making it resistant to a lot of those diseases and helping combat those. And you're also, there's other benefits where you're starting to find this link between the gut and not only like the skin and that type of health, but the mind, happiness. So a happy gut is like a happy mind. And so eating these products and really continuing to update and keep your bioflora, right, in your gut, very healthy and active, you're able to have these side effects of healthy, happy mind, great skin, fantastic immune system. Pair that with the enzymes and everything else that comes in with a live product. It increases your overall health. And the more and more studies that are coming, we can't claim these things on pack, but more and more studies are coming out, and they're doing a lot more deeper research on the real impact of having a healthy gut and getting away from eating these super over processed foods that don't really offer you much benefit. And really, a lot of them your body can't really digest, and that's kind of the silent benefit that on these live foods is that when you ferment a vegetable, you are making the minerals and nutrients more bioavailable. So if you were to eat a raw cabbage in itself is very high in, let's say, vitamin C, really high in vitamin C. But if you eat it, your body can only take so much of that vitamin C. Your gut's like, this thing is right from the ground. It's, we're not a cow. We don't have 4 stomachs to process this over time. Our gut looks more like a carnivore's gut, right? When you ferment it, you're effectively pre-digesting the food. It's the same thing that birds will eat a worm and then regurgitate it to their birdlings. What? Chicks. And so what you're doing is you're pre-digesting the food. So that same vitamin C, you can get 80% more of it after it's fermented. So the nutrients become bioavailable. Your gut literally is down there saying, great, this is already partially digested. I can take way more nutrients out of this. And so every single bite of fermented vegetables, you get all those good vitamins and minerals that you wouldn't have gotten if it wasn't fermented. And so what does that do? It's just supercharge your body. You just get more out of everything you're eating. So you can eat less, first of all, and you don't have to eat these super processed foods, and you're getting more from it.
You led me right into I have another quote here talking about ultra-processed foods. I was going to ask you about, you kind of already answered the question, but I'm just going to read anyways, because there was a study, British Medical Journal talked about ultra-processed foods and their adverse effects on health. They pointed out that right now in the U.S., as we're talking about chronic diseases here in the U.S., 58% of the U.S. diet is from ultra-processed foods. That's a lot. 10% in a country like Italy, France, pick a European country. So back to where we started with the pantry question, ultra-processed foods, they have no nutritional value. They don't fill you up. And I mean, to me, it's like pouring water in a car to make it run. It's not healthy for people to be doing that. So I think you've I don't know if you have anything else to add on that, but it's just eating this is a hell of a lot better for you than eating that. That's kind of the point.
Grab one of our pickles as a snack. You're just going to get more out of it, right? You're also going to get the electrolytes from the salt, and it's just going to be super beneficial. But you can look at another great example of this. People always say this, when I was in Italy, I was eating all this pasta and bread, and I didn't, fall asleep after dinner. And well, they're using, unprocessed, like organic flours, which I think is where organic really plays a big deal, especially in flour. And a lot of it is fermented. So, my wife is an avid home baker, and she makes sourdough every 2 weeks. And so we have the starter in the fridge, and we grow it up. But it makes the bread so much more digestible. Adds a ton of flavor too, which I come from the flavor side. It's like, this is really good. But your body's like, great, I can digest this, I can process this, I can pull the nutrients out of this, and there's going to be less waste coming out, and I'm not as hungry, right? You're just throwing in water into the car, your body's constantly saying, and you're limiting the bacteria down there, and the bacteria is getting trained to want sugar. And so you may not actually be hungry, but the bacteria is in the gut's telling your mind, I want more sugar, and it's influencing you, so you're reaching for that processed. It may not be candy, but it's, processed, different glutens and things like that are sugar. And so, couldn't agree more. I mean, it's totally different what you get in Europe with those numbers you just quoted there, and what we're eating here. It's leading to that $1 trillion cost on our healthcare infrastructure.
Definitely not sustainable. My wife cannot eat gluten here in the States. She can eat it in Europe. Or there's one pizza place in Cleveland, it's actually in Cleveland Heights, they ferment their dough before they bake it. She can eat that pizza.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just kind of little proof point there. So what are your thoughts on encouraging more people to eat healthy foods? I mean, we're talking about it, and we have listeners listening to this every week, but what are some thoughts there?
I mean, obviously, I would encourage people to try looking at fermented foods and incorporating them into your diet. But what we do as a brand is we try to make our products delicious and crunchy. America loves crunch. This is why Dorito does so well, right? America loves crunch. So all of our products we try to make in a very proprietary fermentation process. We don't add in cultures or anything like that. It's just what's naturally occurring on the cabbage. And we propagate that through our fermentation process. And what happens is, make sure we have a crunchy, delicious, vibrant, the spice level. We have chefs, working on the different formulations so that they taste really good. They're crunchy, delicious, and by the way, they're really good for you. Mm-hmm. And so we try to encourage this by offering up things that taste fantastic. It's like, hey, this is great. I can throw a roasted garlic sauerkraut on my child's plate, and they're gonna like it because it's tangy, it's got garlic, it's black pepper, it's really tasty, but little do they know it's healthy for you too, right? Yeah.
It's got the crunch, tastes good, so they're gonna eat it.
It's easy.
Yeah, very easy. So any positive stories or experiences you can share? You've done a lot, in the last 10 years here, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, maybe some other not your organization, but other organizations maybe you've positively impacted through some of the work you guys have done with Cleveland Kitchen.
We've done, I think there's probably a lot of great examples that are not coming to mind right now, but I guess one, the food bank here does a great job of getting in. We try to once a year, we started it last year, so we've done it once, but get some of our operations team who are professional box packers, they just know how to run lines out there to help with the team out there, and you go for a day and pack 600 cases for families and things like that, and we want to put in our fermented product as well, so we can get some of that going to the families out there. But working with a lot of farms, and we're a big buyer now. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning we were buying spot market and just trying to make things work, but now we are probably a great customer for a lot of these farms who they can rely on Cleveland Kitchen is going to take 500,000 pounds from us of cabbage this year, and it's as good as gold. It's going to happen. And so helping farms and fostering other small businesses, and having the impact. And I think one of the final pieces, we had a company that we acquired in Northern California, Sonoma Brinery, just a really great, we thought was the best pickle on the market. The founder and CEO, Dave Arith, I'd known him for years. He was kind of a friendly competitor. He also made sauerkraut, it was really good. And he was one of the pioneers of bringing fresh into the grocery store. It's actually in Cleveland this week. He's an interesting guy, to come to visit us. But I reached out, and he was getting ready to retire, and I said, hey, we need more pickle infrastructure. We need to know these recipes, and in 2022 we acquired the company, and bringing that plant and those operations back to Cleveland, we're able to generate 80 jobs, and hired them really quickly. I think the state was expecting us to bring those in over the next 5 years. I think it's like 2 months. So providing jobs locally here, got about 140 folks, and it's just been great to see the company grow and to build more jobs and put economic dollars right back into the local region, and then all the products across the country say Cleveland on them. Mm-hmm. And we're just champions of our town, the jewel of the Midwest, we say.
And you're physically in Cleveland, correct?
physically in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Our plant's on 77th and Carnegie.
Yeah. And then how about farmers? I mean, have you helped farmers grow there? You're buying a lot of raw materials from these farmers. Have they grown their businesses? Are you exclusive with any of them, or?
Yeah, we've got an interesting model. So there's a large cabbage grower who owns quite a few farms, from here down to Florida, and they contract out with smaller farms, and we've been able to, because of the amount of cabbage we're buying and the specific type and quality we want, they've been able to say, oh great, this is a small farmer that's been wanting us to buy, and we've been able to grow, and we get to go out and check out the fields and everything. It's really cool, and we've been able to help them grow and say, great, this is a staple piece of our business that we can rely on every single year, and that's food on the table that supports these small businesses. They know that check is going to come, and then it allows them to kind of invest in other products or grow their farm or whatever it is, hire folks, and so we've been able to I think have a positive impact on a lot of different farms.
Nice.
Yeah, in this region especially.
Very cool. So what would you say is next for you guys? What's next for Cleveland Kitchen in 2025, 6, 7? I'm sure you're thinking about it.
Yeah, we've got a lot on our plate right now. We really innovating in the pickle category. It's you have a 100-year brand like Clausen, owned by Kraft Heinz, who's kind of owned the refrigerated pickle shelf, and we're coming in, and you have to have a dill pickle to play. Like, that's table stakes, and we make ours is, I think, the best in the market. We have a chip and a spear, fantastic flavor, really great spices, and a process that doesn't pasteurize, right? This is a live product. We're using really good vinegar, which is fermented, right? It's very healthy and delicious, and we've been able to innovate and bring global flavors. So again, go to Asia or go to Central America and have some escabeche or curtido, and these products are on every plate at every meal, right? And so bringing those flavors to the mass buyer in United States is something that we're really focused on. And so we this year we launched a red onion, which is it's everyday item, but we also launched like an Asian pickle blend, like a banh mi mix. So carrots, daikon, really good vinegar. It's really crunchy, delicious. It's fantastic, and that's something that is very similar to a product that my grandmother used to ferment. She's Burmese, but it's a topper that's just really good for you and crunchy and delicious. So we were able to launch those in Publix, and you'll start seeing them on shelves around Cleveland soon. And then looking at the global flavors, especially kimchi. So not only was our first investor Korean American, our first venture firm is led by a Korean American, and then we got investment from CJ, which is a $40 billion Korean conglomerate, largest kimchi manufacturer in the world. So we're a Korean-owned company. Great cap table. Everyone's super scientific and focused on flavor and taste, crunch, but also those benefits. But the Korean flavors are really exciting for us, and so we worked with the CJ team to develop a kimchi pickle. So you have here on your table here, which is bringing that delicious flavor profile of, but kind of pairing it with an American style pickle, which is a brine heavy pickle, right? Something that can be retailed, but it's crunchy, it's delicious, it's got that gochugaru pepper in there, that red pepper that gives it kind of that really nice spice with little smokiness to it, and then a lot of garlic. And fermented garlic is fantastic for you, and it's in most of our products. So really expanding and looking at global flavors and being that brand that brings those to the American market, I think is going to be a big focus for us. And then the education story of, hey, these products are fresh. We've done a fermentation process. We haven't cooked any of these things. It's a natural fermentation process, some process that's something people have been doing for thousands of years, right? And across the globe. And adds all these benefits and flavor to your product. So, getting those in front of folks and having them try them and then understanding that it's a delicious product and it's really good for you. So that would be our focus.
Nice. What would you say your debit? So it sounds like, based on your background, you kind of understand who your consumers are. I mean, who's buying? Like from a consumer standpoint. I mean, is it, I don't know, upper middle class, everybody? I mean, what does your consumer profile look like?
Yeah, I think when we first started, we're premium product. Small operation leads to higher costs, right? And so now I'd say we were fair price product. So we are a premium product, but we've advanced our manufacturing capacity and throughput, buying power, et cetera. So we didn't take price through any of COVID or any of this inflation. We did not increase price. We increased the capacity and the skill sets of our manufacturing team so that we could hold our price steady and not charge our customers for our inefficiency. And so what that's done is you're at a Whole Foods, you're at farmers markets, a more premium buyer, but now our number one customer is Walmart. And so you go down to Mississippi, and in Walmart they're selling fresh fermented products, for under $5, which is just a fantastic price point for someone to incorporate delicious, crunchy, vibrant fermented foods. And so it depends on the region on who our buyer is, but I think we've been able to open it from kind of that health-focused, early adopter, flavor-focused, more affluent buyer to now, we're becoming an everyday brand, and you can see that in the customers that we're selling to. So we really like that because we can sleep easy knowing that, we're not selling ultra-processed, good that's going to harm people. It's like, hey, people eat this. It's going to be good for them.
It's going to be good for them, yeah. It tastes good and it's good for them.
Yep.
Outstanding. So what would you say your proudest accomplishment is over the last 10 years or so being in this business?
I think that we always knew if we were going to do something, we were going to try and get it to scale, to have a real business, to be a household name. I guess I didn't envision that it would get this big. And now that it's this big, I'm like, well, we should be as big as Clausen at Kraft. We should be bigger. And I think my proudest accomplishment is being able to maintain the product quality. So when you look at other, like Sauerkraut, for example, what comes in the mushy bag or the tin can or whatever, they have changed that product so that it packs into a container better and is really cheap on shelf. And that means they're pasteurizing, they're letting it sit in the fermenter for up to 2 years, and using the cheapest ingredients they can find, and still better than Doritos. But it's something that we've been able to build the infrastructure to maintain product quality, to maintain the highest product quality, and then offer it at a fair price. So I think that's been maybe the toughest thing that we had to accomplish, but it's also probably our proudest that we're selling the very best stuff, and it's the same product that you would have bought 10 years ago at the farmer's market from us.
Nice.
But now we have a 60,000 square foot plant, 140 people dedicated to really, really good quality product.
Nice. So could we take a look at the ingredients here? This is something I love to do. So I don't eat a lot of potato chips, but I did buy a bag of potato chips the other day, and it just had 3 ingredients: potatoes, salt, and avocado oil. That was it. So
that was good.
That's good.
Yeah.
So if we look at the ingredients here, this is the people watching on YouTube can see this, but the beet red kraut. So it's just red cabbage, red beets, carrots, kosher salt. That's it. 4 ingredients.
And time.
And time. Well, yeah, I know there's a whole process in making it.
That's right.
But my point is, A, you can read all the ingredients. B, it's less than 6 ingredients, and you understand what it is. I mean, there are products that are sold in the U.S. here that you cannot read the ingredients, but if you take the same product and find it on a shelf in Europe, the ingredients are complete. It's the same label on the box, but the ingredients are completely different. So
it's wild. I mean, our lives would have been made a lot easier if we were able to use these different additives. You know, for example, like the beet red, we're using beets, carrots, red cabbage from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
The color from harvest to harvest is not always the same, and so you have variations in color. We could throw in red dye, whatever number,
Mm-hmm.
and have the same exact color on shelf every single time, or throw in a cocktail of different preservatives to keep it, the same exact crunch every single time. But what we've tried to do is tailor our fermentation process only by the top ingredients and understand it's produce.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be slightly different in color and texture, and I think our customers understand that. Like, they look at the back and they're like, hey, this is clean. It's going to be, maybe it's slightly darker this time, maybe it's a little bit lighter, but I know that it's the exact same ingredients going in, and it has all those benefits, and so we could have gone the other route, the easier route, and but we didn't, and we try to keep it clean and simple, and that's what's reflected in all of our products.
Yeah, and I think it tastes better without all that
Yeah.
stuff in it. It's a better product.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank you.
hopefully continue to be successful with that. So how about just one more question, then I'll ask you about the recipe, but some creative ways people can use your products. I mean, you kind of talked about putting on a protein, a burger, hot dog, kielbasa, whatever. I mean, that's kind of some of the obvious stuff, but what are some creative ways that you see people using your products?
Absolutely. We're kind of looked at it as a condiment or a side. A lot of people will just eat the product out of the bag at the daily. Quick crunchy snack. But where we're seeing a lot of traction, and just what we do at home, is like simple rice bowls are really, really easy to do. Or if you're doing maybe a leftover rice, do a fried rice and throw some kimchi in it. It takes it to the next level. But I think salads are really something that it's quick and easy, and you can take it into work, and you've got our different beet red sauerkraut on there. Just takes the salad to the next level. But I think where we're I don't want to get into the recipe real quick, but I think there's just a lot of options here where we're winning at breakfast with avocado toast and putting like our roasted garlic sauerkraut on that, or even some of our kimchi pickles, which is really nice because of that acidity, that sourness, nice crunch. But folks are using it. We do a lot of food service business, so we have what's it called? It's a big breakfast. Joanne, I should know this. I'm gonna get in trouble for not knowing this. First Watch.
Yeah. They're all over the place.
They're all over the place. So
Yeah.
they use our kimchi on a breakfast scramble, and it's a great way. Eggs and kimchi. It's phenomenal breakfast. You go to the BB Bob, great chain, based out of Columbus, and they're growing like crazy. That's all our kimchi that they use on their menu, and it's phenomenal. Again, it's a rice dish or a noodle dish with the kimchi is really exciting. And then pickles, honestly, like we just snack. We snack so hard on pickles, and you see guys like Carlos Alcaraz, who's I need him to eat my pickles, but I think he just won another tournament, but he won Wimbledon last year, and he drinks pickle juice on the side of the court, and it should be ours. I gotta get that. If you have any connections, let me know. But these are just healthy snacks. We now have a single serve pickle chip item, so it's basically our pickles in a single serve item, so you can put into lunch boxes, especially as families are looking for kind of the non-allergenic snacks that they can actually take into school, because soy and peanuts you're getting limited with allergies rising. Next generation, or take them to a soccer game or something where it's a healthy, crunchy, delicious snack that youngsters enjoy. but it has all those health benefits as well, and it's no allergies. So.
Should talk to some of the school districts about the single serve stuff, because they're starting in Northeast Ohio here. A lot of them are changing to healthier products in the schools.
Exactly. We're working on it.
You're working on it.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Fantastic. All right. So to the recipe, which is sitting over there, but I'm sure I can get up for. So the whole purpose of the recipe, again, under $25. Basically the price of a fast food meal for 4 people. The way with inflation, you're keeping your products lower. People are, fast food wise, prices are going up, so I think it might be over $25 now. But anyways, has a few ingredients and can be made in less than 30 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I went right at that fast food. It's just something that we do at the house that's super fast and delicious. It's just a smash burger. And you can do it without a bun if you want, or we use the fermented sourdough as buns. But you're just getting a pound of beef, packed full of flavor and vitamins and minerals, and it's quick and easy. And so for our family, it's really easy. You just make small balls of beef, put them on a cast iron or a skillet or something, smash them down. They cook really quick. If you've got some nice cheddar cheese, toss it on there, and throw it on a bun. And we like to put either kimchi on a burger is like lights out. I think
I've never done that, kimchi on a burger.
I think Anthony Bourdain, I'm not making this up, Anthony Bourdain was quoted saying people want kimchi on burgers now. And I used to use that in a pitch deck, but he said that in one of his episodes. But it adds that crunch, that flavor profile, and then it helps everything digest, everything get down. And so we also have been throwing the new red onions, or obviously the pickles on a burger. But that's something that is easily done in 30 minutes. A lot of folks will make smash burgers and not have a bun, and just so it's just a beef with some fermented vegetables on the side, and that's just super healthy, delicious, and you get that kind of crispiness, a little fried up over there.
Nice.
So yeah, we do that. That's kind of like a weekly staple at the house, because it's so quick and it does not cost that much, and you can feed a whole family.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's probably under $10.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you for that. How can people find you on social media, kind of figure out where your products are and that?
Yeah, you can go to our website, clevelandkitchen.com. Instagram is a great place to see what we're up to, where we're going, new product launches. That's just at, I think, Cleveland Kitchen. And then, chances are high that we're sold in a grocery store near you. I think you said 14,000. I think we're up to like 16,000, 17,000 now.
Okay.
Across the country, all 50 states. And we sell most major retailers, whether it's a Whole Foods, a Sprouts on the natural side, or conventional like a Giant Eagle, Kroger, say by Albertsons, or mass like a Target or a Walmart. We're there, and we'd love to have you.
Well, thank you very much for being on the podcast today. I've got my first sponsor. I'm going to do a little promo for him here and then close. So close with our very first sponsor, Bob Zimmer from the Zimmer Real Estate Group, is part of Keller Williams. You might ask why have a realtor on a health longevity show. Bob has agreed to take a percentage of his commissions and help what we're trying to build in East Cleveland, which is a new center in East Cleveland. So thank him for being our sponsor. I'll have a link on the podcast and on the website where to find Bob, and he's both a local and a global realtor. Folks are looking for a home to live in a location pretty much anywhere. So please follow us and subscribe to the show every week where you listen to podcasts. Please leave comments below and on my website, Eat Better Food Today, so we can continue to provide content for healthier, longer lives. Thank you very much. Thanks, Drew, for being here, and have a great day.
Ken, thank you. Thank you very much.